Hello and welcome to another remote edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. On today's program, we will chat with John Yazwinski, Executive Director of Father Bills in Mainspring, and learn about their campaign for hope. First, though, we check out the news for you. Currently in Quincy, there are 1,290 cases of coronavirus confirmed. There have been 1,095 recoveries. There are currently 11 active cases in the city, and there have been 132 deaths recorded so far. The Faxon Field track in Quincy now has a new field house. The new Quirk Field House features restrooms, storage space, and a small office. Auto dealer Dan Quirk made a substantial donation for the new facility, which will support high school track programs, the Quincy Youth Track Club, and the Quincy High School sports teams. The new building replaces a series of storage containers that interfered with the discus and the shot put areas. The restrooms will be managed by permit holders and not be open without a permitted event at the site. The field house is part of a multi-year $48 million investment in parks across Quincy. All 30 playgrounds are receiving some type of improvement, including some major upgrades at Kincaid Park in South Quincy, which will open on Monday evening officially. The city's first dog park on Quarry Street is just about complete, and the new Pond Street Skate Park in Quincy Point will open this summer as well. The South Shore Viking Club on Quincy Avenue in Braintree will be torn down to make way for a new car dealership. Auto dealer Dan Quirk purchased the 2-acre property for $2 million and will spend another $1 million to tear down the club and put up a new dealership, adding to his collection of dealerships in that area. The building is over 100 years old and was at one time home to over 600 members. The club was founded to help pay medical benefits for Swedish immigrants working in the local granite industry. But the Braintree Historical Commission said it was in poor condition and had no historical significance. A Dorchester man was being held on $25,000 cash bail after police found a loaded gun and cocaine in his car in Quincy. 28-year-old Christian Dodson was stopped on Quincy Shore Drive at Highfield Road just before noontime on Tuesday for driving an unregistered, uninsured vehicle. After an investigation, officers recovered the loaded handgun, cocaine, and ammunition in the car. Dodson faces multiple weapon, drug, and motor vehicle violations. Interfaith Social Services of Quincy is collecting 750 backpacks to hand out to children for back to school in the fall. Interfaith says, although it's unclear if and how children will return to the classrooms in September, they will still need backpacks and school supplies. Every year, Interfaith distributes the backpacks to children of their food pantry clients. Donations of backpacks and the school supplies are being accepted at Interfaith's Adams Street headquarters in Quincy Center through July 24th. Coming up, we have a chat with John Yazwinski of Father Bills in Mainspring Homeless Shelters. That's next.
Are you a veteran, or do you know a veteran who is struggling with housing due to COVID-19? Veterans Inc. can help provide support services, including assistance with rent, deposits, utilities, as well as emergency housing, including hotel stays to eligible struggling veterans. If you or someone you know is in need of services, please call 1-800-482-2565 or go online to www.veteransinc.org.
Social distancing and staying home are the best ways to limit the spread of COVID-19. But if you must go out, make sure you cover your face. You can use anything that covers your nose and mouth, including dust masks, scarves, and bandanas. But leave the surgical masks and N95s for healthcare workers. Remember, masks slow the spread when you must go out, but staying home and social distancing are the best ways to protect yourself and others. For more information, visit mass.gov/COVID-19.
You've always protected me.
Thanks, Dad.
Every day of my life.
Hold on there, buddy, hold on.
I'm older now, but I still need you.
Kids are getting addicted to prescription pain pills.
Can you still protect me?
You can protect them. Kids who talk with their parents about opioids are less likely to misuse them. When you have conversations about drugs and alcohol, make sure you talk about the risks of prescription pain pills too. Find out what you
Back in with John Yaswinski, Executive Director of Father Bill's and Mainspring, to get a little update on how they're coping with the COVID-19 pandemic, and also they're preparing for a kind of a different food fest this year. Hey, John, nice to see you.
Thanks for having me, Joe. Good to be seen.
Yeah, always a pleasure, virtually or otherwise. But this is the new way we need to communicate these days. How are things going at the shelters?
You know, we're in a much better place than we were a few months ago. Our frontline staff has really stepped up during this crisis. And so, at the shelters in Quincy, at Father Bill's, we pivoted to opening up the field house at South Shore Y in early April. And we really thank the South Shore Y, Paul Gorman and Trevor and the whole organization. We were able to move a lot of our elderly people, a lot of people with compromised immune systems over there, and allowed us to do the proper social distancing. So in Massachusetts, those population shelters across the state have had about a 33% infection rate. But by having the Y and also the city stepped up, the mayor really helped us. We've been in a few hotels in Quincy also. We were able to separate everybody, and our infection rate is only at 6%, thankfully. So really unbelievable response, by the city and by our providers. Planet Health done a tremendous job testing people. Cynthia over there, the CEO, has been wonderful. So really a team effort.
That's fantastic. Now, is that shelter still up and running there at the Y?
So, the Y did get the ability to start to open up. So towards the end of June, we had to move out of the Y. And so now we are over at the Best Western and the Howard Johnson's in Quincy. So this is, again, allowing us to, we usually have about 135 to 140 people at Father Bill's place. And really with social distancing and the CDC guidelines, we shouldn't put any more than 55 to 60 people there. So we're using those motels for hopefully the foreseeable future, as we don't want to have major outbreaks, especially as we approach the fall and winter season.
Sure. The Howard Johnson's, I heard. What's the other one that you mentioned, John?
The Best Western, okay. The Adams Inn area there. Okay. Yeah, so we're really appreciative of the city and the mayor. We're kind of partnering with them with the FEMA application, and been able to have a response there to really keep that infection rate down. And it's not just for the homeless population. It allows the whole community to be healthy, so people aren't roaming the community with the virus.
Right. Are you seeing, new people coming to the shelter as a result of the pandemic?
So what we haven't been able to do, and we'll be doing it, is during the crisis, because of our infections, we haven't been able to take new intakes yet.
I see.
So what we're doing is we're working with the state, we're working with our healthcare providers. So hopefully in a few weeks, we can start to take new intakes. We just needed to shore up. What would the process be? Do we have the proper testing to have somebody come in? We don't want somebody that has it to come in when everybody in the shelter now, we just tested everybody. We didn't have any infections. So we're just trying to balance that. But absolutely, we are getting a lot of calls from people in the community that are in need. And we're starting to see more people outside in our communities. And that's our biggest concern, is what's the future ability for us to shelter everybody if we don't add other sites. I also think that the eviction moratorium has really helped. The state has said, listen, we're not going to allow landlords to evict people right now. And that's really saved us. I think once that starts to change, which I think potentially could change this summer, we could literally be seeing maybe a 20 to a 30% increase of people in need. So.
Yeah, we'll see the additional unemployment benefits also come to an end at the end of July, which I'm sure will put a hardship on people too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, this has been a tough time to house all of our guests during this crisis, but the team, we still have been able to house more than 50 people from the individual shelter over the last 3 months, even during the pandemic. So again, we've been still being able to stay operational. We've, had a lot of staff that haven't been able to come to work, have either been positive or, have family members that they're concerned about. So it's been a tremendous challenge for us.
Yeah. What's the situation in Brockton? I know you had set up some tents as temporary shelters there.
Yeah, it's a different situation. We're back under control there, but in Quincy we were able to depopulate quickly. In Brockton we weren't able to find any place to get to soon enough. We did bring in MEMA tents, so the state helped us, and we put about 4 tents up, allowed us to shelter 60 more people out of Mainspring House. But our infection rate at the high was over 31%.
Wow.
Thankfully now we just retested everybody out of the Mainspring shelter, and out of maybe 100 people, we had 1 person positive. So we've now moved out of the tents. The tents were a good emergency, maybe for a few days or a few weeks, but not for a few months. So now we're also renting out a motel in the city of Brockton also. And in the town of Plymouth, we've had an overnight in the churches there, and we've been using a motel down there as the churches everybody was uncomfortable being in the churches too. So.
Sure. I know at the outset of this, your personal protective equipment supply was being strained. How is that looking now?
It's great now. It seems like, the first couple of weeks we did not have enough masks. We did not have enough sanitizer. The community's really stepped up. So many people made masks. So we're in a really good place with all of our supplies, thankfully.
That's good news, certainly. Obviously, July would traditionally be your annual food fest and auction, your signature fundraising event for the year. It's taking a little different twist this year. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, we had to cancel our food fest, and but at the same time, these COVID expense costs are costing us an additional $300,000 a month, of which, we're looking at about $125,000 must be met privately. So the food fest used to bring in $350,000 to operate all these other sites and to keep people safe and healthy. It's been a tremendous challenge. So as an alternative to the food fest, we're launching our campaign for hope. And this campaign, our initial goal for the campaign was to raise about $500,000. But now we've been, really surprised and fortunate that a lot of our Food Fest supporters have stepped up and contributed more. So we've already hit our goal, but knowing that we didn't know if July, August, we'd still be in the motels. We need to be in the motels. So we're continuing that campaign through until the end of July. So, but there are a lot of organizations, corporations, businesses that have been supporting us for 20 plus years that can't support us because they've been impacted greatly. So we completely understand that, but been very blessed by the outpouring of the support. And the other piece of this with the Campaign for Hope is we had 2 longtime donors of ours generously offer to match during the month of July, dollar for dollar, up to $100,000.
Wow.
So if anybody gives $1, it's going to get matched, and you're going to get $5. So, this campaign, as tough as it was to cancel Food Fest, we've really seen the business community and the individuals that have supported us really step up and lead to help us. So people can go to our website at helpfbms.org and learn about the Campaign for Hope. But we've been able to pivot pretty well right now, and we'll still have some online auctions during the last week of July. And we're having a lot of things with the restaurants kind of virtual to promote that. They've been such a long-time partner with Food Fest.
Okay, so it's just totally online this year. There's no physical activity happening.
No, and we didn't even think about rescheduling it. Our event has been our restaurants, and they've been one of the hardest hit industries.
True.
And so we just felt like we're going to have a campaign where we reach out to everybody that's been a guest of the Food Fest, that supported Food Fest, and say, hey, help us this way, help us with supplies in kind, help us with money. We're all in this together.
Yeah. What year would this have been for the Food Fest, John?
Yeah, it would have been our 26th year. So it's amazing. And again, it's our signature event, and it's always our favorite time of year, where it's a real morale booster for our company and our agency to see all the people that support us, because at the end of the day, it's a very tough mission.
Yeah, I couldn't help but wonder, what Father Bill would have done in this situation when there was no internet availability. How he would have handled this.
I think he still would have. He wouldn't have been able to go to the people's businesses, but he probably would have drove to their homes and sat outside and talked to them through the window.
I think you're probably right. I think that's absolutely what would have happened. He would not have let it go for sure. He would have done
not
something.
At all.
Yeah.
I know one of our biggest needs right now is we're in need of our prepared meals. So one of the things that we've lost is 90% of our meals at Father Bill's place were covered by volunteer groups, and through this pandemic, we've canceled the volunteer programs to keep everybody safe. And, volunteer groups, faith groups haven't wanted to come in, which is, we are keeping our distances. So, if people are interested also either to contribute or bring meals, people can go to our website and learn about the volunteer opportunities there. And people can reach Marianne Mendez in our organization. She's setting that up, and we'll bring the meals to the sites that we're at, or people are dropping them off at the hotels, and people can coordinate. But that's our biggest need right now, is meals.
Okay. I know that typically you do get some help from the grocery stores in the area too. Has that continued?
Oh yeah, it's continuing, but just to know we're at so many different sites and so many different, like I said, it was just always a huge in-kind for us. So
sure. Okay. It's good to know. At the beginning of this too, I remember you were actually hiring. You had some employment opportunities. Is that still the case?
We are still hiring. We've hired actually, a lot of people, but by spreading out, you really need more staff. And so, if people are looking for, part-time, temporary, or permanent, we are looking at trying to get more people in to help us right now. So definitely on our website at helpfbms.org, you can find out about those opportunities too.
Great. So, the bigger picture here, John, is that there were plans for the shelter to relocate, basically, across the street on Broad Street in Quincy. What's the status with that?
Yeah, we've had a really great communication with the mayor and the city, and their plans are to continue to move forward with the police headquarters, and so we're working very closely with them to relocate across the street, as you mentioned, to 39 Broad Street. And we're working with their team, meeting with them monthly on the plans to be a part of the development. And so our goal is not to build another shelter, but it is to build what we would call a housing resource center that would offer prevention and diversion, rapidly rehouse people, but still have emergency shelter beds at that location, but also build about 30 units of permanent supportive housing. And so it would be, we're very excited about that, and hopefully the project will be moving forward over the next couple of years.
Is there a separate fundraising campaign for that specific project?
So, once we know that this is a definite go, and probably as we move into the fall, we will have to raise private money and probably be kicking off a capital campaign for the project. We are working with the state, as it will be a public-private, funding sources that come in and help us out.
Okay, so so it's still on the table. It's just been pushed off a bit.
Yeah, it's everything kind of got delayed just to make sure that we're taking care of everybody's day-to-day needs. So.
Sure. What are you hearing from your colleagues across other parts of the state as to how they're coping, John?
The biggest concern right now is, if everybody has to depopulate, right? So at Father Bill's in Mainspring, we still need to serve about 175 to 250 people in the winter. How we do that, our buildings probably will lose half the beds. And what's the long term across the state? It's over 1,000 beds that we need to worry about where then people are sleeping outside in our community. So I think the real concern is that we're really talking with the state to say, what is the game plan? How are we going to stay depopulated? And we should look at this as we should never go back to having people sleeping on the floors in close quarters in big congregate sites. Mm. So, for us, we're going to try to stay committed to staying depopulated. We don't want people sleeping outside. And at the same time, asking the state to help us, not just with funding the depopulation that's needed, but really the long term is, can we get acquisition money, capital to buy more house and build more housing? Are there motels that are maybe not going to make it, and could they be converted to housing for the single individuals? What a great pivot that would be. So, statewide, we're looking at working with the state and saying, what's the strategy? And I know that, a bunch of us have been communicating with them and say, here are some things we could all do together, but really concerned about how we're going to balance the public health issues of keeping everybody safe, our guests, our staff, our volunteers, but also the community. But then also, how do we have people are sleeping outside, and what's the response?
Yeah. How did the closure of the public schools impact what you do, and the possibility that there may be some kind of a online or at least a hybrid fall school schedule, and you're concerned about young people? I know you've seen an increase in younger people dealing with homelessness.
Yeah, I mean, our youth homeless young adult 18, 19, 20 is one of our fastest growing populations. Yeah. And I think a lot of times, even the kids that aren't necessarily with us yet, that not having that structure, not having that ability to go somewhere during the day when maybe home isn't the greatest place is a real concern, in a variety of levels. And I think the other thing is on the family side, what we've seen even with our shelters is the kids that aren't going to school, again, that they're spending the majority of their time now in a shelter. And the kids, it's like not having that break of something like, okay, when they go to school, they forget about being homeless, for a few hours, and what's that doing to them and stuff like that. And more people find out that they're homeless because it's like, oh, everybody's having play dates and going to their houses and stuff like that. So it's really hard across the board, I think, for a lot of the parents and the children that are with us right now to not have that structure. Sure.
All right. Anything else is important right now, John, you think we should let folks know about?
Just again, we really appreciate the support that we've gotten. We've had some great Quincy businesses again that have stepped up this year. The Arbella Insurance Foundation, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cashman, our great friend, attorney George Burke, as always, Quincy Mutual, South Shore Health, people coming together saying, well, let's come together and help people that are in need. So we're really thankful for everybody's support.
Sure. And again, prepared meals is your biggest need right now.
Prepared meals is our biggest need. Yeah.
Okay. And the campaign for hope, is that just kind of ongoing? Is there dates?
We're running it right till the end of July, kind of through to what Food Fest would have been. So we're kind of working it through the end of July. So if people want to go on our website, learn more about the volunteer opportunities to help us in our food program, what our items in need are, or the campaign for hope, and the matching gift is a huge piece of it too. So
sure. And would you need auction items at all, John, for the online auction?
Yeah, we're definitely looking for things there. So people can always call us at 508-427-6448. Connect with our development office to find out about those opportunities, and they can also see that information on the website.
Okay. Great. Good to see you, John. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Joe, for giving me the opportunity to share what's going on at Father Bill's in Mainspring. Thank you.
Anytime. We're here for you. Give us a call, and we'll get the word out for you.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Special thanks to John Yazwinski of Father Bill's in Mainspring for joining us today. Thank you to our crew working remotely from home, and thank you for watching. And a reminder, please do participate in the Quincy COVID Memories Project by submitting your videos, photos, essays, artwork, or any other experiences of your life here in Quincy during the pandemic. QATV, the Thomas Crane Library, Quincy 400, and the city have all teamed up on this project. Just go to quincyculturalmemory.com, or you can send your submissions to the Thomas Crane Library. Attention, Local History, 40 Washington Street, Quincy, 02169. And do please visit our newly redesigned website, qatv.org. You'll find our latest programs, news and information, video on demand, online classes, and now live streaming. For all of us here at Quincy Access Television, I'm Joe Catalano. Please stay safe.